Sim Stories, guiding journeys, inspiring futures. Every story is a step forward. Learn, grow, and navigate your future. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Sim Stories. Today we have a special guest for you. It's me. Today I'm going to act as both host and interviewee. I've collected a list of questions from the broad audience, especially women, wondering how was it like to act as a leader but still preserving your women's qualities? How it is like when you have to combine your feminine and masculine energy and be a servant leader, have a thoughtful leadership thinking, and be still soft, calm, and friendly in the work environment. So today we are going to go through the questions and address each of those. I'm going to share my opinion, my personal perspective. This is not related to the job I do right now. This is not related to my current work environment. However, this is all about my career experience, which lasts for about 10 years. During this path, I was able to change different roles, starting as a regular specialist, junior level, and in 10 years achieving the director's level in the corporation. I'm going to rely only on my experience and share only personal thoughts which might be useful for everyone and very beneficial for your career progression. Let's get started. The first question, actually we'll start with this section. First section will be about personal journey and identity. Of course, we are all identities. Identity is like who we are. Everything else is our environment. Let's talk about my identity, and I'm sure you'll find something useful which you can apply to your identity or build a path for your change. What does woman energy mean to you, and how has it shaped your leadership style? Women energy means to me being soft, calm, going with the flow, letting it go, being very flexible and adaptable, being very empathetic and loving. Many other qualities. But in leadership style, you still need to adjust all these qualities and not solely relying on all of those, but trying to adapt them to the environment. If you have these qualities, and I'm sure that many people, they possess these qualities from the day they were born, or they obtain their qualities throughout their life, you should not get rid of them, but you should know how to apply them in your work environment. Let's talk more about that and move forward with the next question. Have you ever felt the need to suppress or amplify parts of your femininity in your career? Yes, I did, unfortunately. So let's say you're getting on their leadership meeting and you're there to solve really critical problem. You have pressure of time and importance. And at the same time, you need to be very assertive, very decisive, and very opinionated. You need to have your own opinion. You still work in collaborative environment when you act as a team, but at the same time, your personality should be formed in the way that people can trust you, can rely on you, and can believe that any decision you make is trustworthy and is very reliable. So during my career, one of the goals I had is to make my words valuable. What does it mean? We may face different situations where people can throw many words, thousands of words in you, but you can be distracted by other activities, or you can change your focus, shift your focus to your offline work and keep this voice on the background. For me, it was very important so that when I speak, people listen. When I say something, people stop anything outside of this meeting and become very focused on what I say. My idea was to say just 3 words or less instead of 100, but have the same weight as if it was 100 words and millions of sentences. So how I was able to achieve that And this is like my personal advice to those who are also pursuing this goal of making their like speech more meaningful and having more weight so that people listen and follow that. Try to experiment. Actually, it was my experience. I tried each time when I had to share my opinion. I shared my opinion in the short, structured way without any explanation, additional details about any water words, if so-called water words, when you like pour the water and it doesn't have any meaning, but there is so much of those. I try to be very succinct, short, and sometimes direct. And before you structure this message, you need to make sure that it's very meaningful. It has really useful information and answer to the question you're trying to address during your meeting. So at the end, like how it worked out, we have meeting, there are many people that are sharing their opinions and voices. But then when I have my hand raised, everyone stops talking and asks me for their opinion. Not because I'm the leader, not because I'm a boss, but because they trust me, the expert. And based on the past experience, majority of decisions I made and majority of advices and opinions I gave, they were really useful and working ones. So to like achieve this power of your voice, first off, you need to go through many situations where you can prove that your voice and you being vocal means something, and when you say something, it's very important and can't be dismissed. But if you go back to the women's qualities and which of those I had to like suppress or amplify, one of those was softness. I'm still soft on people and hard on problems, and I still try to preserve friendly environment. But sometimes when you deal with difficult situations and you deal with people, you need to address it urgently and directly in a straightforward, decisive way. So there is no place for softness. You can't go with the flow. You can't say either or. You can't say maybe. You can't say, I don't know, I'm not sure whether it will work out. The leader should be very decisive. Before you make any decision or share the decision as an option to the audience, you need to be really sure that this decision will really work. You should be really sure that what you are proposing, it's valuable and trustworthy. So when it goes to such situations, you might be really direct, and the way how you approach situation like might not satisfy expectations of other people. They would expect you to be softer. They could ask the question, okay, like why are you acting like a bitch? Why are you acting like a boss while making these decisions and not listening to others? You're putting like too much authority. Of course, I had this in my experience. But interesting fact, when people learned more what was going on behind the scenes and why I made the decision, they were soft on me at the end. They understood. One situation, as an example, I had to like introduce some initiative, and majority of team, they were against it. I tried to explain the benefits and reasoning behind that, and it was really short, period of time, and at the end, I had to forcefully introduce that. There were many people who hated this, but they had to follow this because there was reason, really reasonable justification behind this. At the end, few months after, one of the team members came over and told me a really important thing. He told me that now I understand. Now I understand you and why you had to be so decisive. And actually this initiative worked out really well. And I'm so sorry that I was not accepting your idea because I didn't understand the context. So always try to explain why you're making this decision. Always try to explain, the reasons behind this, what motivates you. Sometimes we don't have enough time to explain that, But make sure when you make decision afterwards, you go back to your team and explain why they have to do that and what benefits they can have out of that, and like what drives you making this decision or share this opinion. So of course, softness, and one of the qualities, of course, it's going with the flow and letting it go. So if your project, your team, your business is on fire, you can't say, okay, I'll let it go and I won't put any control onto this. I won't be controlling because, it's meant to be so. If project is meant to be on fire and then at the end burn, yeah, it's totally fine. So this is not the situation when you can apply your flexibility and go into the flow, unfortunately. So here you need to use immense power of control and speed. Yes, you need to forcefully introduce something, you need to forcefully control it, you need to forcefully set up some framework and control your project, business, or people against this framework. And you may ask the question, so how you should deal with that afterwards? How to approach it this way so that you don't lose your ability being flexible, going with the flow. I set clear boundaries. Like at work, like when I'm in work environment, I make decisions the way I make decisions in the authentic style, authentic way as a leader for this group of people, as a leader for this project. Once my working hours are done, business is closed for the day, I get back to my true authenticity, true Kate, true person as a feminine, and try to express my women's energy in any different ways outside of work. You need to remember one important thing. When you act as a leader at work, and you may have fear of losing your feminine qualities, being assertive, being fearless, and being decisive, it doesn't mean that you're going to lose these qualities as a woman. It means that you are trying to take on another role for a specific period of time. Once your play is over, you're back to yourself. You're back to your soft, calm, loving personality. Any personality you'd like to play in your personal life. This is what really important to remember. And this is the lesson I learned so far. Let's move forward. Navigating a man's world. What were the early signs that you were operating in a system not designed for you? First signs is conflict inside, like contradiction. So when you want to be weak, when you want to be not in a bad sense weak, but you don't want to take too much responsibility and bear this on your shoulders, because you're not designed for that. You're not designed to carry heavy stuff as a woman. So the same goes to responsibility. You're not designed to carry a lot of stuff, taking responsibility for the whole thing. So if it goes to family, you're taking responsibility of yourself, of your kids, of your loved ones, and that's it, few people. And in most cases, men, they are taking responsibility for the whole family much more than women. They're acting as a kind of supporting power, as a servant leader in the family. This is my opinion, my perspective. But when you're working, when you're building the business and you're leading the team, you need to take responsibility of everything. If it's not responsibility, then accountability. Accountability is even worse, at least from my perspective. Accountability is when your hands, they are bounded, so you can't move your hands. You don't do anything, but you're still accountable for the circumstances, for the outcome produced by your team members or by your project. Well, you can't influence actual work execution. You can also only help there and provide resources. But if outcome is negative and if it's failure, this is you who is going to represent this. This is you who is going to deal with that. So, and it's for me, in my world, this is not what supports development of the women's power, by nature. And these were the first signs when I realized that there can be some impact on my energy and on my personality as a woman in leadership role. If to move further, I have next question. How do you navigate boardrooms or executive spaces where you're the only woman? It's really very often case. One time I even made like screenshot of the entire meeting, audience. There like were around 20 men and only me, woman. And the same situation was in in-person meeting where I had like 10 or 15 men in directors, executive, and senior managers roles, and only me as a woman. If to describe my feelings, I didn't feel any pressure. I was feeling like so much support and care from these people. Maybe it's because of the work environment, maybe because of the like in nature, maybe because of their personalities. I was just really in the nice group of people who were really genuinely caring about me. But what challenges I faced and what can I recall from the situation and what helped me actually to build my image. So unfortunately or fortunately, when you enter the room and you're about to join executive meeting or about to join really important meeting with senior managers, you enter the room and you're like, you are just different gender, you are a woman, and you're maybe young, maybe not. So anyways, you get into the room, I'm telling about my experience, and you already have looks at you. I mean, it's not any bias, any, just negative outlook perspective of the situation, but people, they already start scanning you. So first off, make sure that you dress up accordingly. Because first thing, like there is also some saying that the way you look will define like first seconds of your conversation. Make sure that you look professionally, and you're following the rules of this board. You're following the rules of this meeting. If it's fine to come there like being dressed up casually, just go with it. Dress up casually, but make sure that you are still like compliant with work environment and you look professional. So for me, the way how I look is very important. So I try to dress up in the way that people perceive me seriously. Secondly, it's about like first, second, talks, like 10 seconds conversation and looks. So you should not try to get into the room, start throwing the jokes, and like be smiling and be like playful and be entertaining. Like despite the fact that it might be the women's energy and women's way of handling conversations and calming, warming up environment. This is me like when I, meet my friends. I'm very playful and throwing jokes and smiling and like giggling and play around with different scenes. But in the like board meeting, that's not the situation when you have to use your strong sides as the woman being playful. You can be playful in the business context, and I'll elaborate more on that later on. So what's next? Try to have small talk. Small talk is not about your dating experience or like your dress you just bought yesterday or like the party you attended like with many friends and the way how you were having fun and hanging out. Small talk is about common topics, about business, like about conference, or even about like weather or like a place of living. Where do you live? Like anything happening there in this environment, any interesting events, or maybe some people in common or some places in common, events you both attended. Like if you just get in touch with one of these people from the conference, from the meeting room, from the board. The next step, so like you're already like halfway through. So if you look really professional, have professional look, if you have professional voice and you are able to establish rapport and connection for the first seconds, talking about something really important, meaningful, and the topics which connect you with other people, It's part of the success. So the next part is to prove that you're an expert. So what's important like in what will define your future, like if we talk about interaction and working together with these people from this meeting, is showing yourself as an expert. Like there is, there can be some conversation on the defined topic. And if you feel that you are knowledgeable in this area, if you're the expert, try to be vocal. Show your expertise. Ask the right questions. Interact. Just don't sit and wait for other people to ask you out. Don't sit and wait for the perfect moment when you are allowed to speak. No. Of course, don't interrupt people, and don't jump into the conversation which is ongoing and may impact that. But whenever it's a good time, try to show your knowledge. Try to show up and like fill the space with your presence. So this is the way how you can establish your personality, professional personality in the space as a woman, and actually show credibility. Acting as a professional, acting as an expert, acting as a reliable person in this business context. I hope it helped to address some of your questions if you had challenges with the similar situations. So, but now we are moving forward and going to talk about balancing empathy and assertiveness. So, what does it mean to be empathetic? For me, being empathetic is when I imagine situation on the road. You're driving on the road and you see the person, it's like, created like imaginary situation. It's not real case. You're driving on the road and you see a person under the stone, like, just stuck under this big, huge stone. What empathy means is you stop your car and go under this stone and sit together with this person feeling the same amount of pain. This is the empathy. Assertiveness and control is more focused on solution. It's when you stop your car, go there and try to rescue this person and try to get the stone out of him or her, like to make their life easier. Or actually you go under the stone and tell this person solution options. Hey, you can just move this stone in this direction, or you can just squeeze in here. So to make it summary, you're trying to solve the problem. When you see the problem, you're trying to solve this. And how to find the balance between assertiveness and empathy. Like assertiveness is being able to make meaningful decisions, powerful decisions. Is that when you're about to solve like really pressing problem, and you need to come up with urgent decision and get into the decision-making process with time pressure and pressure of importance. You have a group of people who might be positively or negatively impacted by your decision. So you should express your empathy to them. So how can you do this? First off, understand the problem. It's very trivial, and I don't want to tell about the whole process of decision-making process and problem solving, but understand the problem and understand the impact on people, and try to talk to them and try to understand their feelings, their emotions, and try to understand and feel the same. And when you're about to make decision, make sure that you specify it's either in the meeting or in the email, that you hear them, you understand them, you feel the same. Or one day you were in their shoes as well, and you understand how much it may hurt, or how much it how scared they can be, or how fearful it could be, just to to get the result of this decision making. For example, I don't know, when project is closing and it's out of control, and budget is over, and you need to make announcement to the whole team that they need to be released from the project. Some of these people might lose job after that. So when you announce your decision, you should be very assertive. You should not use words like, maybe project will be closed, or I'm not sure about that, but there is a chance that project might be over because budget is over, but I don't know anything about that. No, this is not right approach how to handle the situation. You come to the meeting when you're sure about this decision and this outcome and result. You come there and say, like, assertive, in the assertive way, the project is going to be closed on X date, or like the project is over. Our next step is to make sure that we do the knowledge transition, knowledge transfer, and like hand everything over to other people who are picking this up if there are any, and try to find our new opportunities like outside of this business or project. So before you're, or like after, actually, as well, it works both ways. Before you announce this decision or after you announce the decision, make sure that you act in a humble way as a human, and you need to split it into the two parts as a balance. Be assertive and announce this decision, project is closed, that's it. And also open the floor for people to ask questions, what happened and why it happened and what are the next steps. Of course, it's also part of the balancing with this empathy and trying to listen to people. But at the same time, before the decision-making process and after announcing decision, try to show them your empathy. Try to show your emotions and feelings. Say, like, you know what, I'm really sad with what's going on right now, and I feel that you might be disappointed about this as well. And I think it will hurt you and impact you because you invested so much into this. And same goes to me. Like, I can't believe it's happening to us, but this is what we need to deal with it as, like, all together. We are all in this together, and we need to, like, let nothing stand in our way to cope with this. So that's the way how you can balance assertiveness and empathy. Let's move forward. How do you build psychological safety for your team? Now we are transitioning to another section, managing teams and influence. So from my experience, from my perspective, psychological safety starts with basics. Of course, like we all, in our regular life, we have psychological safety, and we achieve it through fundamental needs like food, home, where we know where we live. We have some roof. We have some food. And we have some like basic safety. We feel safe in the environment we stay. So psychological safety is more about the same. It's when you provide resources for the people so that they have everything they need. At the same time, you open the floor for support. You make sure that you communicate them that they can reach out to you at any point of time. And when they reach out to you, not being ignorant, even if you don't have time or resources or energy or information to address their question, make sure that you always navigate them to the right resource or to the right contact or right person, that you're always here for them, so that they always can trust you, that they can share sensitive information to you, and if you promise something, you'll meet your commitment, you'll meet your promises. It's all psychological safety. So if to sum up, you need to establish safe environment by providing resources for people to work so that they're not in need of anything. Resources, I mean, for example, like laptops or some working schedule or some, some technology tools or, understanding the processes. So anything what will help them to understand what they do and why they do this and what is their role, so that they are not confused each day, like resources and understanding what they're doing and why. Secondly, offer help and be there for them. And thirdly, be a trustworthy person they can rely on, and they can share really important information. They can also share any risks and issues, any challenges they struggle with. And make sure that they can trust in you. They can trust in you, the person who meets their commitments, who keeps their promises and does whatever this person does whatever it promises. And if you can't execute on the promise, you can't execute on the agreed plan, never make sure that never pretend as if nothing happened. Always follow up on that. Go back to this person and say, I'm sorry. I know that we agreed to deal this situation in this way, but unfortunately, I can't keep my promise because 1, 2, 3. Like I face so many situations, like when some leaders, they promise something and they can't meet their commitments because they have some external factors influencing that, right? They can't do anything by themselves to handle this, right? And they just like make sure, like they just pretend as if nothing happened, and they just not forget about it, but now follow up on this topic with the employee. They promised something. So my philosophy is that even if you can't do anything, or you're stuck in some process, or it's not under your control, go back to this person and explain what's happening and why. And this way you can also establish safety. So let's go through a few more questions and wrap it up. I would call it closing section. So let's talk about challenges and double standards. How do you respond to situations where your ideas are overlooked or attributed to someone else? There were so many situations where my ideas were attributed to someone else, and this person became the owner of this idea and drove this initiative. I never felt any sadness, any angriness, or I never felt anything, any negative emotions, like if this person was in my team. And I'm the creator, and I was happy seeing other people promoting the ideas and taking them. And that's the thing, like if it helps your team members to grow, or if it helps your leadership team, your manager to grow with this idea, it's success for you. It doesn't matter whether you're the owner of this idea or not, and whether you're the owner, but whether it's announced as if you're the owner. If it helps other people grow in their career, it means that it enables your growth as well as a leader. So you're enabling others to grow. You're enabling your team to grow. You're enabling your leadership team to grow, like managers and directors as well, who are managing you, who are acting like a boss to you in the career ladder, in this escalation chain overall. So I never responded to the situations with anger or any judgment. And if the idea was stolen, of course, I would behave differently, but it's not the case for the working environment in most of the cases, I can say, if you have healthy working environment. And about ideas being overlooked, of course, I can't claim that it's failure until I came up with 11 ideas and one idea was accepted. So it's the nature of the world, it's nature of work that you are throwing different ideas, and some of them may work, some of them may not work. But it doesn't mean that you need to stop generating these ideas and brainstorming on something. My personal perspective is that if idea is not accepted, I'll ask why. I'll ask for the feedback and maybe work more on this idea. And maybe there will be just some, reasonable justification why it's not accepted, and it will be reasonable. If there is no reasonable justification why this idea was not accepted, then I might, provide some factual data which will prove the validity of this idea. So this is the way how I approach these situations where my ideas are overlooked or attributed to someone else. So last question I have on my list. How can companies better support women leaders without forcing them to fit a traditional mold? I'm sure that companies that are already running some programs for women who wants to pursue the leadership role or who are already acting as leaders. Also, what I would say, from practical standpoint, what companies can do is try to give this opportunity to women who are not fully ready to take on this leadership role in the men's environment, for example, if there is a group of men in some board, but this women feels confidence, at least 50% of confidence that she will be able to cope with this challenge and she is ready for this challenge, like give it a shot. If there are no many risks and not huge impact, add this person to the environment just to observe. Like how this culture is being built and what decisions are being made and in like what a way. It's the best way to learn already being in this environment. And also, what else I would maybe advise to the companies and the overall like people, women who wants to pursue this career later, like become a leader or progressing as a leader, is just to have mentor or to have the person they observe their actions, they observe their behaviors, and this mentor should not be specifically woman, it can be man. So just choose your role model and try to like stay in touch with this person, like get into connection, and learn from actions. See like how this person announces something, communicates ideas, handles situations, like acts on the problem, and like different other like approaches different situations and responds to risk, challenge, and change. So it will definitely help you to grow and it will definitely help you to become the person you'd like to be one day. And it was Sim Stories, inspiring futures, guiding journeys. Every story is a step forward. Learn, grow, and navigate your future. Looking forward to seeing you in our next episodes. Don't forget to subscribe to Sim Stories. Take care, everyone.